Okay, bear with me a moment, just getting the live stream sorted out. Okay. It's been an absolute crazy rush today to try and free up the last 3/4 of an hour. Studio. Content. The internet was on the biggest go slow in the known universe. Bear with me a few more seconds. I'm just pulling up the laptop so I can see any people posting about it. So right, here we go. And okay, should we plug an Xbox controller in and have a look around the airplane? And this is where I discover the Xbox controller has gone walkabout. I'm really not prepared for this. I'm trying to rush through. I've just finished installing it. So let's plug in an Xbox controller. So keep default, resume. Okay, let's have a look at the airplane. Let's go and change the speed because the camera views in Microsoft Flight Simulator are absolute garbage. They will not let us choose the right speed. Okay, so here it is. The ATR 42600 I've chosen. There are several models. I have to say it is very nicely modelled. I don't know which of the developer houses are behind it yet, so you can see the actual quality though of the 3D models is absolutely without question. Oh my word, they really have done a number on it, haven't they? Okay, we will be getting in it in a moment and trying to get it fired up. I think I bought it for £16. I don't know if there are discounts available. I haven't got a clue. I just got it from the marketplace. But yeah, the quality of the modelling is pretty amazing actually. So we go and jump through the wall, which we can do with the drone camera. And we'll find ourselves in the cabin. And go through the cockpit door. Oh, sorry, no, into the corridor. Presumably just burst through the wall. This is the drone camera after all. Okay, should we switch cameras? And maybe remove the Xbox controller in case it glitches. I'll put it over out of the way. I've got cables across the entire desk now. Okay, so I was watching a video this morning with a real flight crew operating this thing, so I should have half a clue of where things are, but you say that. Here's the main electric power overhead. So you should, yeah, it's completely different. So we should be able to turn batteries on overhead and we get a few things. We should have external power if it's available. Yeah, we're getting a load of warnings. We don't seem to have external power available, which is interesting. That's probably down to where I've parked the plane, to be honest. So, waiting for things to boot up, which is absolutely expected. So just having a look around to see what we've got overhead. So fuel, doors, flight management computer, flight controls, all the breakers. The breakers are not clickable. The majority of the switches, that's just a indication of the landing gear. The majority of these buttons seem to be working. So there's the hydraulics. Probe heats, anti-icing. We've got the APU bleed down here, or air bleed I should say, sorry. Interesting. So if we look back down in the cockpit, we have a tablet. So the tablet gives us payload references with lots of the operating speeds available. We get performance data, which is quite cool. Presumably you can click on these to get different configurations, which will show you different V speeds, for example. So it's kind of a simplified calculator. We have a shortcut mode to change the configuration of the aeroplane. We can attach ground power. Hurrah! So if we do that, do we then get the light overhead to use ground power? We do. And we can switch that on. And it pushed in, but then nothing happened. Does that mean the sim has not frozen? It's just gone to on. There we go. We still haven't got any screens or anything. Anyway, let's go and shortcut this for the moment just to see it fly, shall we? So if we go ready for taxi on the configuration, how quickly does that happen? And how much noise are you hearing? So I just want to get a really quick flight in for a first look at this. So the strobes are operating. So while we're sat here, I presume this has got reversers available. Yeah, it has. So what we want to do is go and check the controls. And we've got this at the moment on a 2-engine aircraft profile, which I'll leave it at that. Go back, resume. So that appears on the... Yeah, that's working with the Airbus bus controller on the default axes by the look of it. So we are very much winging it today. So presumably we just use the soft keys to go through, and then it's going to be similar to other things. So we can do pause in it. pick up the GPS, drop that in. Interesting. Flight plan initialization, so we can go and put the route in. Okay, that's all fairly straightforward stuff then. So we are at EGSS, and we're going to go, for example, if we were going to pretend we're going to go maybe up to Edinburgh, EGPH, so we can drop that in there, can we? Yes, we can. Excellent. Execute that. So yeah, it's kind of a mixture, isn't it, of Boeing and Airbusiness. So yeah, just looking at the live stream comments, people saying they didn't realise this was coming out today. So let's see just how similar this really is. So EGSS, say we were going for runway 22. Can we just select that? Or would we have to select it here? Oh, we have to select it there, okay. So it's not wanting us to key them. BKY5R. Execute the change. That's pretty straightforward stuff, isn't it then, to program routes? Okay, so I obviously shortcut that and went straight through the cold and dark, straight to a flyable condition, which it did, no questions asked. The screens are interesting. They're very different than we've seen before. So I remember watching Hans Hartmann, is it, was showing these to the guys at Asobo the other day. It's all quite clever stuff. Okay, let's come off the parking brake then and see if we can reverse. Apparently not. Is that because we still have chocks in or something? Let's put the parking brake back on. No, wheel chocks are not on. Perhaps it can't reverse. Okay. So we just ease the throttles forwards. I don't think the parking brake is released, you know. Let's have a look. Let's see what happens. I'm trying to shift P to see what happens. I think the parking brake might not be wired up in the normal way. Yeah, that hasn't disengaged, otherwise they'd be going backwards a lot faster than that. Interesting. So this is all the electrical systems with measuring the voltages from the various systems. There's TORs over there. Let's try the keys out while it's struggling to be pushed back. Actually, has this got the parking brake here anywhere? It's not some crazy switch they've put on it, is it? This is all really nicely done. Oh, we have throttle set up. So you can calibrate the throttles. That's nice. so I can have dual axis. Interesting. Yeah, just reading the live stream chat there. I knew that was the parking brake there. I was just looking to see why it doesn't look like it's bound to the same controller configuration as a normal parking brake. Probably because it has multiple positions, if that makes sense. Yeah, that's exactly why. It has an axis and an on-off on the parking brake itself. Therefore, you're going to have to do some custom configuration. So turning circle is fantastic. This is very much a winging it few minutes, just having a very early first look at the aircraft. Obviously over the days and weeks ahead we will learn it inside out, so you know all of the proper procedures with going from cold and dark and with flying it properly. So presumably we can still have things like heading mode. Yeah, heading selectors come up. And there's the roller for heading. So we can select our runway directions. We're not at Stansted, by the way. That's why it hasn't shown up on the EFIS display. So we're just going to fly it by hand for a few minutes just to see how it feels. So we're at Southend, by the way, if anybody's wondering. And looking at the wind, I'm going to... Actually, the wind's not too bad. We've got a crosswind on the runway. Watch this from outside. I never take off from outside normally, but I think for a first takeoff it might be fun. We've got some problems here. Hang on a second. Right, I'm going to restart. I think half the reason the switches aren't working is Flight Sim's had a fit and possibly broken the control profiles. Let's look at this again. So if we shortcut this again, go to aircraft, go for ready for taxi. Okay, so do my controls actually work now? Flaps are working. Yoke is not working. So is there a gust lock somewhere? Yes, there is. That will make sense. Why we had no control inputs. So do we have ailerons now? We do. And we have full control surface movement. Hurrah! Interestingly, this thinks it still has... Oh no, it's moving. So now we've got the brakes off. Can we actually reverse? No. So let's put the parking brake back on, just for the moment. And go and set this up. So dual axis, it has a reverser axis, so idle is there. It was pretty much accurate actually. Notch is there. Ramp. Now what do they mean by ramp? We need to read the book to find out what the different power configurations should be in terms of the throttle throws. So should have actually some flaps this time. We have. Okay, so this is just going to be completely by feel. We're not going to program a flight in. Or I don't think we are. We'll get lined up on the runway and just see how it goes. Now we have the controller at least working to a small extent. Actually, before we do this, let's go and sit on the brakes. And let's see what the throw is going to do. So that's the notch. Okay. That makes sense. So, throttle setup. What they meant by ramp, I think, was backwards. Let's just check. Nope. How strange. It won't hold itself on the throttles, by the way. Ramp, ramp. Try that again. So that's doing that. So ramp does mean full throttle. Try that again then. Yeah, it's working now. Okay. So now we have throttles that are reliable and consistent. There's quite a lot of crosswind here today, which is not helping our cause. That crosswind, it's pretty horrific. So gear up. It's pretty easy to control. It looks the part, doesn't it? So I saw a rumour earlier, is it Aerosoft behind this? There's a bit of a graphical... Oh no, it's not, it's the pattern of the heating elements in the window. I thought it was going to be a graphical glitch. So yeah, obviously we're not following procedures at all today. We're just having a quick fly around in it to see what it goes like. So we're just taking off from Southend. And we'll come back in a moment, just do a visual approach. Okay, so the trim has the strangest Mario noises ever. But only on the elevator, not on the aileron trim. So should we have a play with the autopilot while we're doing this? So we'll move the heading marker. Okay, we can click the heading marker to center it, that's useful. We'll go and engage the autopilot, which is over here. We'll go for altitude hold, which I'm guessing it's doing pitch. Yeah, pitch hold and heading select because I'd already clicked it. So there's altitude hold. So then we will go and open little nav map and just have a quick look at where we are. So let's go and So we want to tune 11135 just to see if we can get ILS up and running. So I'm guessing the nav radio is going to be in here somewhere. Yeah, there is. We're probably having an overspeed going on, aren't we? Yep. So let's get the yoke out of the way so we can see this. FMS in it. We haven't even initialized it, have we? So we'll do that and come back. Can we get to the nav radios now? Oh, it's up here. Interesting. Okay, are these touchscreens? Oh my word, they're touchscreens. So we want 11135. This makes things a lot easier. Except we have to use a number pad somewhere. 111.35. Should we try that again? No, that doesn't use that.
South End approach Foxtrot Whiskey Whiskey Lima Yankee is type 6 miles southeast of Echo Golf Victor Whiskey, 3,200 feet. Request flight
okay, it's
following.
this keypad.
Foxtrot Whiskey Whiskey Lima Yankee South End approach. Squawk 6713.
Presumably, is there a key I can't see under here? No, that is just the number keys. And then enter is in the middle. So that should give me... This is in FMS mode. So I need now to figure out how to get this to change CDI mode.
Whiskey Lima Yankee, did you copy?
Oh, I'm going to have to try and shut up the...
Squawk 6713 Whiskey Lima Yankee.
How do we change CDI mode? This is not the way to go flying, by the way, anybody that might be watching this. There's the flight directors. That's the mode of display, but that does give us the nav mode, which is quite good. Oh god, I wish the ATC would go away.
Roger Whiskey Lima Yankee.
So we're just going to come back round for an ILS approach into Southend, hopefully, if this is working. It doesn't look like... We've got the beam is showing up, which is one thing. Obviously we've got nothing on the flight plan because we haven't programmed one, which makes total sense. So actual direction of the runway is 233 degrees. So as we come in, we should see the diamonds sweep across. So that's showing either FMS or NAV1, yeah, that makes sense, or NAV2. So we're getting the diamonds are showing up for the ILS, which is perfect. Well, not perfect, because we're miles away from where we should be, but let's try and get rid of some speed, shall we? So we're obviously not operating the engines properly at all. Okay, here comes the localizer. Presumably we've got spoilers on this thing. Oh, we have. Excellent. Shall we stop descending? That might be an idea before we go into that wind farm. So 1500 feet. We didn't correct barometric pressure, and apparently the setting the airplane for ready for runway didn't do it either. So I'm just trying to see how this reacts to various phases of approach. So we've gone off to the right on purpose. Let's turn back across the runway direction. See, it should, yeah, here it comes back in, which is good. So if you look at this on the map, it'll make a bit more sense. We're just coming into the feathers. So we're looking for 233 degrees for the approach, so localizer's coming in. There's the runway directly in front of us. Here comes the glide slope. Okay, so we're on the glide slope more or less. I'm just going to trim it slightly. We're on the centre line, on the localizer. Let's have a look outside. And we're flying through a rainbow. Very good. And of course we've gone high while we were busy admiring the airplane outside. So we're just going to descend back onto the glide slope. You can see the puppy lights now. They'll probably be telling us we're high, which we are. Just going to descend back down. You can see the puppy lights are changing colour as we speak, just about. 2 reds and 2 whites is what we're looking for on the glide slope now. This is really easy to control, by the way. It's easy to trim. So we're going to come off the speed a bit more. Actually, we're idle now, so I'm going to use spoilers. So obviously there's some control configuration you need to look into along the way. So more flaps. Come off the spoilers. Speed is bleeding off. Isn't that interesting that the glide slope is not matching the puppy lights there? Which kind of goes with what 737NG driver, whatever his name is, on YouTube said about it being a bit broken in the sim. If you follow the glide slope, the puppies won't match.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Okay, I've got to go out in a few minutes, but that was a first try at landing it. Obviously we didn't do any of the proper procedures, we didn't do any of the proper preparation for landing, we just hooked onto the ILS more by luck than judgment and had a very, very quick look at it. So I think for the price This is fantastic. Very, very good, and it sounds amazing. It's easy to control as well. Obviously there's some control configuration required to get things to work properly, so some reading of the manual will be needed for that, to make sure you have all the correct amount of throws going on, and to manage the propeller condition as well as the throttles. But yeah, it's I think it's up the game, hasn't it? It's the first of its class in the sim, really. Very, very cool. Okay, where should we park? Where's there a space? Is there a space the other end of the EasyJet over there? Someone's asking if it has a passenger cabin. Yes, it does. So while we're taxiing, I'll just get out of the seat and walk down the aeroplane. You can walk through the walls. I haven't even tried the doors to see if they're animated, but the cabin's all in there. Okay, let's have a quick look at this. So yeah, we're going to park on the end bay here and then shut the aeroplane down. That's the end of this very, very brief first look at it. Okay, so you probably need a custom controller profile to make all the levers and switches work, which is not unusual. I presume there'll be a way of just cutting the engines with no APU, which is going to set off alarms all over the place. Obviously there's all the procedures to learn, which is going to be great fun over the coming days, and all the navigation systems which look like they're completely custom. Obviously look at the look at the alarms that have gone off. Brilliant. Okay, so obviously you can cheat that if you're not into learning all the procedures and stuff, and you can just say I want to go cold and dark please, and there you go, you've done it. Okay, so the doors work. Should we go and try them? So if we put the ground main door, service door, cargo door, oh yes, and it's all got nice animations as well. I love that one. They model a door with no ladder for it, so you know you can imagine all sorts of accidents happening. That's a huge door, isn't it, for the front end of the plane? Very cool. I wonder what hotel mode is. Maintenance, fire protection, performance data. I think this is awesome. Very, very good. I think the big surprise in flight was how quickly it went through 250 knots at a kind of 50% throttle. It was very, very quick. So its climb rate must be crazy. So let's try some of these things out around the cockpits. So the shades, I presume, work. Yes, they do. So you have to click the mouse button and hold it on though. So it's not a draggable shade by the look of it. but it gives you a giant yellow shade. And then you can do the same to lift it back up. That's a bit crazy, but does that mean you can make this longer maybe? No. Anyway, I'll leave that there. I'm just monkeying with things really. So I have to go out in a moment. So I think someone said this is Aerosoft that made this, and it's got kind of Aerosoft written all over it, to be honest. It's like half of it works. Interestingly though, they've gone and made all of the radio knobs work, which is quite strange. But yeah, so there we go. A very, very brief first look at the ATR in Flight Simulator. Hopefully you enjoyed that, and we'll have a look at it properly in the days to come. I have to go out now, so I'll see you all again soon.